how do you tell the difference between a facilitator of empowerment, an enabler of oppression, and an oppressor? Let's take a couple minutes and talk about that so we can find out the difference between intention and impact. Intention is what we think we're doing when we act, okay? Impact is the strong effect of our action. So think of people, events, situations, your ability to make progress. Your impact is affecting those things. It's having a strong effect on those different variables. So we are decision-making machines, and sometimes we need some help with that because we might have grown up without developing a moral philosophy. If you grew up with a religion, you probably did get some moral philosophy stuff. Either way, it's important to cultivate a moral standard to know a basis for understanding the difference between good and evil, right? So that when we act, we'll have a kind of moral GPS. We need something to align our intention or our desired destination where we want to go with our action, which is our vehicle of influence, so that we can actually have the impact we want and end up getting to the place that we meant to go to, right? That's why GPSs are helpful, and because they help to guide you, right? This is what a lot of religious texts are for. They're for guiding you towards a certain kind of life situation, right? So you want to figure out, in order to develop your own moral standard, you want to try to figure out what you think is good and what you think is evil. Just jot down a couple examples of events or people or behaviors or activities that you think are better than the others, right? Is it better to be a good, nice father, or is it better to be a mean, cruel father? Is it better to show up on time, or is it better to be late to work, right? And then fill in the space between, and you'll start to notice patterns there. If you need help with this, nature provides a clue. It's called you existing, right? As a human organism, a creature on the planet, just like everybody else that exists on the planet of different types of species. Typically, the kinds of actions and events that promote your continued existence are probably good. The kind that promote your ability to flourish as a human being and to prosper as an individual, they're probably good. Then evil is probably that which tries to stop or does stop you or others from being able to do those things, right? From being able to be well and flourish. So hopefully that'll help you to understand the difference. Developing your own moral philosophy or your own moral standard will help you to understand the difference between the intentions that you might have and the impact of your actions, right? To be able to figure out if what you mean to do is actually good for you and others, or if maybe you have a faulty belief about your intention being good when really your intention there's something wrong, right? So your intention might be good, but your impact evil, or something in between the two binary poles. For example, you might intend to intervene and improve your world, but if your impact enables oppression to increase as a social experience, then you're an enabler of the continued existence of oppression as a social experience, whether you want to admit it or not. And I give some examples of enabling, typically propping up, protecting, and amplifying the influence of people who are dominating, exploiting, gaslighting, stealing from, deceiving individuals and groups, engaging in fraudulent behavior, and the strategic destruction of other people's morale, access to opportunities and support systems. If you're amplifying that kind of influence and protecting it and propping it up, chances are you are actually an enabler, because that's what you're doing. You're enabling oppression to continue. This is very sad, right? When someone thinks of themselves as a hero, but actually they're engaging in enabling behavior. You're less likely to enable if you can see clearly that enabling oppression is not good, because oppression is typically experienced as aversive by living beings that are trying to be well and do well in life, right? That's intuitively obvious. So therefore, you would notice then that oppression in any form is a form of evil, even when it's against people outside of your peer group or political party affiliation, even when it's done to people that don't like you. And if you're the one that is doing the oppressing, that makes you an oppressor, even if you think yourself a hero. Lastly, if your actual real effect is constructive and catalytic and does promote well-being and flourishing, then you probably are being heroic. You probably are a hero. Hope that helps.